Oh, and we are live. So we decided that tonight we were going to do a Shoots and Giggles special edition Monsters Q&A. So if you decide to watch this, ask a question and we'll answer it. Oh my God, nobody's watching.
The horror, the horror.
Well, I kind of sprung this out, I just thought about it. I was like, man, this might be fun. I
Well, I
didn't
mean,
really advertise or
there's
nothing like that. So, yeah.
there's a guy that's been wrestling longer than me and all of my kids put together that knows more about wrestling. So
Don't be a smart ass.
what? He's
Yeah,
not
don't
even
be a
gonna watch.
smart ass.
He's not even gonna watch this. He's got me blocked because he's a bitch.
But I have it on my channel, on the YouTube channel.
Well, okay, so I figured somewhere he will be watching.
That is not what this is about. This is about let's do some Q&A and have some
Hey,
fun.
this is shoots and giggles. I'm shooting
Yeah.
and I'm giggling.
And
No.
we had one viewer for about 10 seconds and they went away.
Oh man.
You
Let's
never know. You never know. Oh, me. We've been on a whole 40 seconds and so let's see if we can get anybody to actually want to talk to us. Uh, this is completely different from our normal SDU stuff. This is primarily wrestling related. Uh, so if you got any wrestling related questions towards us or anything like that, don't hesitate to comment, and we'll answer to the best of our ability. Got some good stuff coming up here soon. Like this weekend, we will be in Wynn, Arkansas for
100
100
wrestling.
wrestling.
I don't
100
know if
wrestling.
I don't know. Maybe it's keeping it 100. I don't know.
I don't know where that came from either. I'm not one of these kids that knows the slang. Uh, but yeah, not sure what's going on exactly there, but there's gonna be some good guys on there and everything like that. So hopefully we can get a good show. It should be a good audience there as well because I know the guy that's running it, that's his hometown. He's got his finger on the pulse and everything there. So
Oh yeah,
hopefully,
he's got a street team flying the hell out of places. I think they even did a radio spot.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome. That's
dude.
awesome. So we should have a
Well,
good crowd there.
he's an old school guy. He was a he was a vet when I first started. Well, I mean, there's a lot of guys that were vets when I first started, but he was he was one of the guys that I looked up to, and so to me that's super cool that fast forward 15 years and I'm working a show with him. So
Yeah,
and
and then
he asked me to be on the show, so it wasn't like I reached out and I begged and pleaded to be on the show, but
right. I know we got March. Oh, can't say that one yet. That one's a surprise. March 23rd, Gladiator Championship Wrestling in Ozark, Arkansas. We're going to be tagging against this team called the Raging Cajuns, and I know both of the guys in the match. Uh, so this will be interesting to see how they do this because I don't know if this is a normal routine deal for them. Um, April 5th, we're both going to be at Manila for that big Manila show they do every year. April 13th, the Warwolf will be defending his TAC championship. Not sure against who yet.
I thought you were gonna say not sure what TAC stood for.
No. Oh, no. I know
I look for
exactly
every
what that.
I look for every opportunity to say it.
And then May 11th, as of right now, we are booked it for Vapors in Hot Springs. So, and then Outside of that, it's just normal routine stuff. You never know where will pop up. But
2024 is the year of the monsters. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, this is my year. This is my year." Well, guess what? This is your year to face the monsters. Face your fears. Get in the ring with some monsters.
yeah, I actually, Sarah, we'll get to your question here in just a minute. I actually, it's crazy. Over the last month or so, I've had multiple people refer to us as the Arkansas version of the Road Warriors,
It's super
which I
cool.
take as a compliment,
Oh,
big
so do I,
time.
dude. It's crazy. It's crazy because our gimmick, our tag team dynamics and everything about us is just brawl and intensity,
And it
and
fits.
it fits. So
Yeah.
yeah, we haven't been no selling your question, Sarah.
So right here,
There
who
are
will? We'll leave the question up while we're answering.
there's gonna be quite a few of these, and like the list is extensive. I know one that can happen probably anytime we suggested it, and almost anywhere. And that would be the modern day monsters versus LSD.
Oh man.
Can you imagine?
Oh god. Man, I don't know if my jaw can handle that.
I was going to say I'd have to clean my schedule for at least a week. I'd have to take a week
I,
off afterwards because I mean I would just be like I'd be sore. I'd be sore to say the least. I
yeah,
remember watching
and
I
I don't
remember
know if
watching them
she's
coming up.
referring to indie or like WWE or something
Well,
like
I
that.
mean,
But we're
dream.
gonna go with local, with the
Well,
indie, like
again, like don't get me wrong, like
feasibility.
it would be a dream to wrestle any tag team on the major leagues, like anywhere.
Oh yeah, most
Um,
definitely.
but
But
I
yeah, the
mean,
more
like
feasible answer.
it's being the vets that we are. Man, I love the idea of working guys that were in the business when I very first started. Uh,
What's up, friends?
what's going on, friends?
Again, this is a live Q&A, dealing with our
So
wrestling and stuff like that. So
so yeah, my frame of reference is obviously gonna be the indies where we work.
yeah,
We
and
we
dude, to get to work with Dale and Idle
Oh
Bane,
my
not
gosh, yes.
Phil. I
Yeah,
want
oh,
Idle Bane.
right,
Uh,
right. And that's exactly what I meant. I want Deadly Dale and I want Idle Bane.
man,
If it's a one last time for the last time, that would be a dream match.
yeah, definitely, and then
Especially like because if anybody has seen how me and David wrestle, um, we take a lot of cues from a lot of different people, and kind of stitch them into the fabric of who we are. But if you look at us visually and you look at us in our ring work, you'll see a lot of old school LSD.
well, I mean that like for me, like I talked about last night when I was interviewing Idle. Idle. I'm gonna go Idle Bane. When I was interviewing him, and all, I told him I was like, uh, him and Dale were two of my biggest influences coming up. When I first started wrestling, and then still to this day. I mean, especially like with like Dale with the way I do, like the innovative style, throwing some weird stuff in here and there, and then Idle with the working more of the big man style. I feel like yeah, Josh Cross trained me, and I do implicate a lot of a lot of his stuff into my stuff. But I feel like a lot of my more like things that I do push more towards their style of
Well,
stuff.
yeah, and it's not, and it's just an evolution of the wrestler. It's not so much. I don't know if this was a thought, but it's not so much. what's the word I'm looking for? It's not so much of a disrespect thing when you say, oh well, this guy trained me, but I wrestle, I lean more towards this style. It's
Oh
just
no,
an
no,
it's
no,
just an
no. Yeah,
evolution.
I
Because no,
wasn't
no, I
because
know.
I know I can't do the flippy shit that Josh could do or nothing like that. So the way he trained me, he straight up told me, he goes, you got to find your own style, your own way of stuff.
Right,
And those
right,
were two of the guys I gravitated towards.
right. Well, and I just love that. I remember catching a couple of, and I know it's going to seem like a stroke fest uh, to Phil and Dale, but I remember watching some videos of their the Goon Squad stuff,
Yeah.
and dude, I had a like it didn't matter what where I was in wrestling. In my wrestling bag, I didn't tell a lot of people, but I had a black toboggan. Just hoping for the opportunity of somebody reaching out and saying, even though I never once said it, but just hoping for the opportunity that somebody be like, "Hey, Bruce, put that toboggan on and come bust skulls with us."
Right,
Just like
right.
that smash mouth outlaw wrestling, to me that type of wrestling it was like Hank 3. You know what I'm saying? Like it was
Oh,
country.
okay. Yeah,
It was
yeah,
country, but it was whip your ass country.
yeah. I definitely enjoyed. Like I was telling Phil last night, the when I first started up, Josh had pointed out certain people and this, that, and the other, and I watched some of the LSD death matches, or whatnot. And I was just like, man, I don't know if I ever even want to meet these guys, much less get in the ring
Right.
with them.
Right,
Uh,
right.
but
It's
like,
crazy. You find out like a guy that's just a complete destroyer in the ring, like some of the nicest, coolest, laid back guys you'll ever meet.
like me and Dale, we talk almost on a daily basis,
Heck
and
yeah.
me and Phil talk a lot here recently and everything like that and all. But yeah, I've only actually worked Dale one on one time, and it was in a barbed wire match. Uh, so we've never got that proper one on one, but I've also never got to tag with somebody against him and Phil. So that's definitely a bucket list
Oh,
thing
for
for
sure.
me.
But again, I'm
So
not like I
Phil,
said.
if you're watching this, get in Dale's. Wait, that was gonna sound bad. Get on Dale's ass about this. Let's make this shit happen.
But yeah, again, I not to leave anyone out. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys on the indies that not just around here, but there's a lot of guys on the indies. Period. That I would love to get in the ring with. The Salem twins being a
Oh my
couple
god,
being a
yes.
couple of guys. I
Man, I
don't
want to
like
work with.
our gimmicks our team dynamics really seem to mesh well, and I think our in-ring stuff would mesh well as well. But I think that would be another really good match.
Oh, 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 oh,
Oh,
oh, oh, right there.
bum bum bum.
So let's go back. Let's continue this question until something else pops up. Uh,
Now I like
I
the
did,
sound.
like right
I like
there, right there. You see
yeah,
that? That's my boner. Just
six to
went up.
midnight. I like this comment because I would really, like I said, like being able to work guys like that would be amazing.
Yeah. Dark Order,
Honestly,
man. Oh, Evil
honestly,
Uno. I love that guy.
Evil Uno is the coolest guy ever, and his ring work
So
to me is
smart.
just really
So
good. Yeah,
smart.
just really, really, really smart guy.
I really wish you could, he would get more exposure, on AEW and whatnot, because I like the gimmicky characters, especially.
Right,
He is
right.
so intelligent about that character. And
Well, and
it,
that's the thing. I love guys that are like me that are really character driven.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Now, if we continued on around, like say around, that's feasible around here and whatnot like that, definitely need to go run, FGA again.
Oh, dude, yes.
We did that outside show, and I blew out my knee midway through the
Oh,
damn
dude,
thing.
I would absolutely love to mix it up with those guys as well.
And that is an extremely feasible match to happen.
Right.
Very feasible.
Well, look,
Uh,
like once we started the modern day monsters, I kind of told people like to their face, like, don't be surprised if we just show up to a place sometime, because like being the modern day monsters and being the monsters that we are, why wouldn't we just show up and scare somebody into giving us a match? I agree. I agree.
and
I think
that
the scene needs a Draven Morrow.
and that is somewhat in the works. Nothing confirmed yet, but that is in the works. Uh, back on the FGA thing, I did see that they got some pretty new gold on the shoulder.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I noticed
so
that too.
we
Um,
hadn't had anything on our shoulder for a while. Actually, like right after we decided to join up, we won the OCW tag titles for a little bit, and so that needs to come back.
right, right. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. It also feels really good at the end of the night, and your envelope's a little heavier because that belt brings along a little bit more prestige
You get
than just
paid. You get paid to do this.
you
Shit, I've been doing this wrong.
you've been doing it wrong. Hey, Crashcast, don't tempt us with a good time, dude.
Oh, I saw the comment he's talking
Yep,
about. Good
yep.
God. Oh, I'm trying to be all serious and stuff, and here comes a big golden thong. Like, good Lord. But yeah, if any of y'all got any questions for us, just hit us up in the comments there, and
Yeah, we
we'll
don't know
try.
how
Yeah,
long this is gonna go. We're gonna run it for a little bit. We got some.
this is just us having fun.
Right,
It's
right.
just if you want a little bit more insight to the monsters,
Last night was kind of serious. Tomorrow night will be really silly. This is just kind of this
I
is
was
just
gonna
kind
say you
of
better not say serious because it's nowhere
no,
near
no.
serious
So
until Fred gets butt hurt, and then he's
right,
like,
right. Then he just scowls all night. We get Dark Fred all night long.
but going back to the tag match thing and all like that, one that I think would be really interesting would be if Lost Souls got back together for a match. Ray Ray and Josh Cross, because I've had
Yeah.
a
Oh yeah.
lot of interaction with both of them, and
Oh,
I
same here.
always enjoy. mi- uh,
So this is really just our perspective on
Ooh, that's
this.
loaded.
I will say this. I believe it's similar for both, but it's a lot harder in different ways for male versus female. Like for females, it's harder because you have to travel around to find an area where there's a lot more females. That being said, you have to charge a little bit extra because you're traveling, a good majority out of your way. Then once promoters start seeing that you're traveling to all these places and what you're charging on PO, then they try to to hustle you into a smaller payday. Basically, they want your work, they want your look, they want you as a female wrestler, but then they don't want to pay you for traveling 600-700 miles out of your way.
So I think honestly that's kind of a loaded question too, because it really just depends on the area too. Like
Right, right. And that's what
what
I meant. That's what I meant. Like, don't get me wrong, guys have that same problem because, like, as of right now, I live in Northeast Arkansas. David lives in Northwest Arkansas. So, you
I'm
know,
more central.
okay, more central. But,
Well,
if we
the
wanna tag up and travel, like, promoters know what we're charged on PO, or what we charge to come in. And my whole objective is if David has to drive 5 hours out of his way, I want to make sure it's worth his while.
So, but what I was getting at though too is like Arkansas, especially, there is not a large female wrestler demographic. There
No,
are
no, there's
some,
not.
but one,
I would say probably what 5 to 1.
something like that. But like a lot of the once they actually get out there and all, that's where they can actually make some pretty decent money and all
Right,
like that
right.
getting out there. But
And
that's the
don't get me
thing
wrong.
though, you have
Yeah,
to, for the especially female wrestlers, if you want to be able to work week in week out, you've got to travel because majority of the promotions, either they've got to bring in another female or they got to put you with the dudes, and not a whole lot of shows will do that.
right. Then you get typecast as a female wrestler who only wrestles guys.
Uh, my wife,
Right.
90% of her matches have been against dudes because,
Well, and
and
that's
that's why
because
though
just
she's
the
also a lot stiffer than most.
well, that's why she's a monster as well.
Right.
Uh,
So let's
uh,
go this next one
yeah.
here. Ladder
The,
matches.
see, I don't see them a lot. I know Hoxie just had, I know OCW just had a ladder match.
But they're in a
And they're
location where you can hang something easy. A
right,
lot of
right.
these
A lot
shows
of
are
it.
like in gyms and stuff.
Well, yeah, a lot of it has to do with venue location. It has to do with, if it's a bigger show, if it's one of those shows where storylines converge and they're about to end storylines, sometimes you want to spice things up and have a ladder match.
And yeah, I think the primary though is like I said, you get a lot of these shows that are in gyms and stuff like that, and
Right,
you can't. It's not really super feasible to
right,
be
right,
able to do that unless you want to. Like I was at a show, they literally hung the deal above the entranceway because that was the only place they had to hang it.
right.
Right here is for you, Bruce.
Um, well, and that's the thing. Like, I enjoyed popping into MCW, and I enjoyed working there. The crowd was completely on fire. I love crowds like that. Super energetic, which I feed off the crowd. Good or bad. Whether I'm pulling face duty or heel duty. Um, I feed off the crowd. So when a crowd is hot like that, it means a lot. It gives me, it almost boosts my adrenaline. So, but with mine and David's schedule right now, we are doing more. We are doing
And,
more tag stuff,
and
and
I
we're
can't do Fridays.
right, right.
My work
So
schedule don't allow it, and that's
yeah,
a 4.5 hour drive. So by the time
right.
I get off work, it show's already over by the time I get
Yeah.
there.
So, that being said, like I'm eventually gonna make my way back to MCW. I just don't know when. I've talked to the promoters and I've talked to the booker, and we're discussing options on coming back. I just don't 100% know when yet. So
And like I would have to know, uh, I would have to know that ahead of time.
yeah, my dogs are losing their shit right
Yeah.
now. I guess
All
they're
right.
protecting me from a truck that drove by.
All right. So here's another very loaded question.
Well, look, I saw that. I
Very
saw that as
loaded.
well. Um, I'm gonna say I've had the opportunity to talk to guys that are in the WWE, and I've had an opportunity to work around guys like that. And I've asked questions like this, and to be completely honest, and not trying to poop in anybody's Cheerios or rain on anybody's parade. A lot of it has to do with skill level. A lot of it has to do with work rate. If I'm if I'm an indie guy that only works one company, how am I marketable to a $1 billion company that is world renowned? What do I Where do I stand out from 100 uh, Bruce McGowans? The 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 part that guys have to figure out is how can you be marketable in that in that frame. You know what I'm saying? Uh, not
Yeah.
necessarily about looks. I mean, don't get me wrong. You have to have a certain physicality, especially there, because their work rate is like 340 days a year.
I think now after COVID, it's kind of pulled back a little bit, but it's still constant,
Oh yeah,
And
but that's
the
what I'm
main
saying. Like,
for, for me, like the main thing too is like you see most of the people that they're signing is either like someone straight out of college that they can train in their style, or somebody that is extremely established, like say like Kevin Owens and Finn Balor and all those guys that were extremely established worldwide, so they were able to bring them in, kind of mold them a little bit more towards the WWE style and whatnot. But you don't really see a whole lot of the actual indie guys that they're bringing in anymore because they're not, as you said, they're not as the
right,
marketability.
marketability. That's the
Yeah,
word.
that word.
Um, it's like man, and look, I've got the indies. The indies is my. I love the indies. Don't get me wrong. I love working TV. I love working just about any place that I wrestle at. Uh, the goal is always to climb the ladder and to be better than you were the year before, or you know wrestle someplace, or accept an opportunity to wrestle someplace that you've never worked before. uh
and and
that being
just to
said,
reiterate, if you're asking a question, we'll get to it. Don't think we're ignoring
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. Don't feel like we're no selling you. We're just working through the questions. uh but like I said, that being said, making it to that next level, and for anybody that believes that that can happen, or if you believe that it can't happen, uh just watch Memphis Wrestling this Saturday is all I'm gonna say. um
Right
that
here, did I see?
Oh, you totally did. You totally
Yeah,
did. we
always,
are we are
always,
always in
always.
pursuit of gold. It feeds our monsters abilities. It gives us virility. It's our mojo, um
I need a
if you will.
trophy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need
I
no, what
don't
I need
need it. I want it
no
because somebody else has it.
what I need is a target on my back, honestly. It keeps me hungry, it keeps the claws sharp, it keeps the hunger alive. Um so so yeah, we're always in pursuit of gold. We're always in pursuit of wrestling the next tag team. Win, lose or draw. Uh, I want to get I want to get in the ring, and I want to wrestle them all.
You know, yeah, definitely need to get in there and do some more. Get the name out there a little bit more, and there are a lot of opportunities coming up that hopefully we can become a little bit more of a somewhat of a household name. I guess that's what you call it.
Right, right.
I'm just gonna throw this up there. It's not even a question, but you know, we say
I
it's a
hear
Q
that.
and A,
I,
and he says he loves you. That's a
I,
statement.
I hear. I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot. Thank you. I love you as well.
Ugh. So Roland, our
So
cohort on SDU on Thursdays. I wish WWE
and
had more
and
creative
and
control.
and the last little bit of cryptids and creepy stuff.
Yeah, we gotta get back on that, man.
Right, right. So
Wish
I wish the
WWE had more.
WWE have more creative control. Matters for better TV when people can be themselves. You're right. It does make for better TV when people can be themselves. It's easier to. I'll put it like this, and David can David can put his spin on it if he'd like to. He'd give his opinion as well because I'd love it. Me personally, I feel you have the most fun when you can be yourself. Um, I know it's going to sound weird coming from a super indie wrestler who is a werewolf, but honestly, I'm a nerd. I like werewolves. I love being one. There's only a couple of slight drawbacks.
Well, I don't think he means like being just them. I mean being the character that they want to be.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
because
saying.
you
Like,
can
don't get me wrong.
you'll invest more into something you're interested in being.
Right, right. But again, I think that falls back on I think that falls back on marketability as well. I don't me personally, in my eyes and in my heart, being a werewolf is super marketable, but it may not be marketable to to vampires. Vampires may be watching the WWE and then they see a werewolf on there and they're like, "This is bullshit. I'm turning this off." WWE writers don't know shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
And then on the
Lord.
opposite side of that coin, werewolves could be watching the WWE and see some vampires and be like, "Oh God, vampires suck. I'm gonna flip it over to AEW." I'm
Oh
coming for
Lord.
you,
Yeah.
Gangrel. Round one, round one, cruel stepped in. Round two, it's just gonna be you and me.
I won my match with Gangrel. Just saying.
I don't want to hear you talk. I don't
Just
want to hear you
saying.
talk.
Just saying.
I don't.
I
I don't want
won
to hear
my
you talk.
match. I
Look,
won my match.
I was close to winning until Cruel stepped in the way and got in the ring, and then I got choke slammed into a coffin. I don't want to hear it.
Whatever excuse you gotta make. I
It's not an
mean,
excuse. You saw it. You saw it.
yeah. I mean, whatever excuse you gotta make, you can do it. Just because that's why my back hurts all the time for having to carry this team.
Right, right.
Uh,
That's what I mean. You gotta carry a 245-pound werewolf on your back all the time. It gets kind of it gets kind of yeah. It gets kind of love you as well, Roland. Can't wait to see you again, bro.
oh
but
Lord. So
but
yeah, anybody, if you got any questions and all, throw them in the comments. Let's get going now. I don't speak a whole lot on WWE, AEW stuff like that because I really haven't been watching any of the. I've watched some highlights, but I really haven't been watching a whole lot of the product here recently.
right, right.
Just
Well, and
mainly, and there's
when you're
nothing on the
focused,
shows. I'm focused on my own stuff.
right, right. So when you're focused on yourself, like don't get me wrong, you can watch like I watched the last pay-per-view Elimination Chamber. I thought it was a wrestling show. So um there was some highs, there was some lows, there was some,
You thought it was a
there was some
wrestling show. What'd you go in thinking it was supposed to be? Like a
well,
hardcore
it's
or something?
it's what is the new term that the kids say nowadays? It was a PLE, so
Oh
it,
yeah. I forgot to call
it
it
was a
that now.
premium live event. So
Well, since
I
there's actually not pay per view anymore, because
right,
I
right.
mean
Yeah,
you're
it's not
paying for
pay-per-view
the whole
anymore
stream
since
thing.
you pay for Peacock and you get it.
Okay, I just said I
Uh,
don't talk that much, but okay,
well, no,
we'll
no.
go ahead, Roland.
This is any match. Okay. Let's think
Man,
about that.
uh, John Cena and the Nexus. I'll definitely change the outcome of that. Even he said he would,
What would
because
like
that
John Cena getting beat by the Nexus and having to join them?
No, when they did the big Survivor Series thing, and it came
Oh
down to
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cena and two of the Nexus, and he even
Right.
said that he should have put them over because it just completely derailed everything that they were doing. And it was
Oh, it
actually
totally
some
did.
really cool shit at the time.
Shortly after that, it kind of fizzled out. So I
I think
agree.
it would have changed their career dramatically.
The dude, honestly, like, yeah, I think that would be it.
Because
Um,
it would have made guys like Wade Barrett, Justin Gabriel, and all them a lot bigger stars at that point.
right, right. One of my matches. Um,
Man, that is very difficult because man, without pulling the curtain back too much, it gotta. Uh, Man, I really don't know on that because I mean it's all built me to who I am, personally. Uh,
I'm gonna say like the one that stung a little bit that would have changed the outcome on probably would have been Gangrel versus Draven Morrow. I just so he would shut up. I would like to see Gangrel. Wish he would have won. Actually,
hey, he dropped me on my
I
head afterwards, so I
uh,
took the
no,
impaler.
okay. I'm just joking. That I watched that match and I was really impressed. I was nervous going into mine, so um,
Now, you've also got to work James Storm, which is
uh,
really freaking
that
cool.
that was a really cool match. Super knowledgeable, super professional, super cool. Dude is one of the boys through.
You wouldn't have picked up that beer bottle. There's your moment right there. If you wouldn't have picked
Yeah,
up that
if
beer
I
bottle,
if that's it, if I wouldn't have picked up that beer bottle, I would have won. I would have been distracted. He'd have thrown the super kick. I'd have sidestepped it, and I'd have planted him on his ass and pinned him 1, 2, 3 for everybody to see. That's the one. You hear that, James? You're
probably not.
next. Probably not. You're next. James Storm. Hashtag James Storm. I'm
Did you
coming for
ever
you.
change your settings on your
Yeah,
on
yeah, I
your
did.
video? Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
when we first started, I was that first person that watched and then went away. That was me because I have to actually click on the video to hit the buttons to
yeah,
change it. Yeah.
maybe what we need to do is like you need to delete your Facebook as a destination and then reconnect it like on the off
Yeah,
time.
that
That might change it.
it might. I don't know. But no, and for shoot, like honestly, like I don't know without just completely ripping the curtain down. I don't know of any match that I've had
Fred
if
standing
if I would have
outside,
changed
probably.
if I would have changed the outcome if it would have mattered any. I agree with what David said. Um every match that I've been in is kind of been a patchwork of,
Led
of
to
who I
where
am
we're
right
at.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, led to where we're at right now, and who knows if
Who knows
who
if
knows
Beer
if we
30 plus Manai would have equaled Monsters. Uh,
right.
so yeah, if you got any
I
questions,
wholeheartedly
like I
agree.
said, shoot them in them comments. Fred's in the chat now,
What's up,
so ain't
brother?
no telling. And he is disconnected from the Wi-Fi, so that won't kill my signal. He's probably standing out in the yard right now. Uh, it's a little too chilly for that, though. It is 39 degrees here right now. I don't
Dude,
like it.
Mother Nature is on one. It was like 75 degrees yesterday. It was so
Yeah.
hot. Look, I'm gonna little inside baseball. It was so hot that me and my daughter we we um we shamed the wife into turning the air conditioner on.
Oh wow.
And yeah, the wife was like, "No, it's too early for the air conditioner." And we're like, "Oh, look, we're both sweating."
Oh, Fred's in the kitchen.
You know what? You're absolutely right. There. I would have probably have changed my only tack loss. Um, yeah.
I think I only have one win. All right here.
Oh man.
I would be full blown comedy gimmick. I would be I would. Alex number one would be full time, but I do not know if I can keep up accents very long.
You'd have to pre-record a whole bunch of sayings, and then just like whenever somebody talked, you just like hit
Do
the
like the Japanese or Chinese movie subtitle thing. It's like
right.
I would destroy you.
Uh, I would, dude. Honestly, like I love. This is gonna sound really weird, but for several years, this is just not me. But I had an idea several years ago about doing a sweating to the oldies gimmick, like an '80s sweating to the oldies
With
gimmick.
all
Like I
your
was legit,
chest hair and stuff and
dude.
your
I'm
booty
telling you,
shorts.
I'm talking like a whole like a whole pink little tank top with the friggin' chest hair friggin' spilling out,
Why can I see
sweatband,
this?
dude, like come to the ring like dancing to like doing aerobics to some song. I'm legit serious. Like I don't know. You know, a lot of people say like, you know, like, hey, you got a really good idea. You gotta market it. If you don't, you know, somebody else will come up with it. Who knows? I could probably be in the WWE right now with a friggin', you know,
Simon Dean Jr.
a 6 figure, you know, contract by doing this friggin' uh you know, sweating to the oldies gimmick.
Everybody be like, man, Simon Dean really let himself go.
Right, right. And who knows? I may, you know, if I had hair, I would have a mullet, and I would probably shave my. Yes, yeah. So basically, I would be Richard Simmons. Yes, I would have Richard Simmons. I would have Richard Simmons going online, being like, "This guy Bruce is not me."
Instead of the fro, you got it on your chest. So
Right, right.
take the tank top off, and they're like, "Why are you still wearing a sweater?"
Takes this tank top off and like completely changes. Like, dude, he's got a sweater on underneath there. No,
Dude,
that's just me. Virility.
one that I really think would be fun to do. You ever seen Dan the Dad?
Yes, dude.
I think I would kill it at that one. Yeah, especially like everybody messes with me about my stupid dad jokes and stuff.
Bro, I
It's
miss
like,
those
man,
so much. When you
I haven't
post
done a
those,
whole lot of those in a while.
dude, I roll.
All
So
right, I guess
yeah,
I have to get
like,
back
can you
into it.
imagine Roland? Anybody watching right now? Can you imagine an Alex the Russian and a Richard Simmons gimmick as a tag team?
We are
Like,
sweating through the oldies.
why are you sweating so much?
Oh Lord. I heard a joke the other day. It was dude was trying to pick up on this chick, and she was like, "Ew, no, you're too ugly for me." He's like, "Well, chick, you're like the heel on the loaf of bread." She's like, "Oh yeah." It's like, "Yeah, everybody touches you, but nobody wants you."
Oh,
And I about lost my shit when I read that.
that's
Oh
hilarious.
Lord. All
So
right,
yeah,
so that
if you're watching, if you're not watching, you know, throw a message in the throw a question in the comment section.
yeah, share the video too. You know, get let's get some
Yeah,
more views on
just
this.
to get some more views on it, get some more eyes on it. Hey, maybe one
What's up,
question
Sid?
could be what's happening, bro. Maybe one question could be the question that gets us signed. I don't know.
Oh Lord.
At least to a multi-dollar sponsorship for special the SDU networks.
Oh dude, that'd be killer. I would you think y'all hate Facebook ads and YouTube ads now? Hell no, my ass would be all sorts of here's a word from our sponsor and play a video.
Dude, 5 minutes of podcast, and then there's a 10-minute commercial.
I thought
I'd put
when I
more
did the when I
I'd
did the
put more
mind of
money
a
into the commercials. What's up?
well, when I did my mind of a madman thing on Anchor, where it was just vocals and whatnot,
Uh-huh.
they you had to include it, the Anchor like they if you wanted to get paid off of it somewhat, you had to have the Anchor commercial in there and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah.
And like they gave you this script to read off and everything like that. And I read like I did mine so robotic. If you would like to watch or not watch, if you would like to hear more content, subscribe to Anchor. And, oh man, it was so horrible. I did it so crappy on purpose. Oh
So
Lord have
I've seen a
mercy.
bunch of people do those like Manscaped commercials. They get the sponsors for Manscaped,
Really?
and like you can get real freaking creative with the sponsorship ads.
All right, here we go. I'll
Uh,
go first. I'll go
okay,
first. When I did
you go
the
first.
my original Alex character, I did at a bar show in Hot Springs. I had I think a silver mask on, a 3X Golden Girls t-shirt, my Nickelodeon shorts, and two pair of shoes. It was some like LeBron James shoes that I found at a thrift store. One of them was missing a shoelace, and the other was spray painted. Uh, so yeah, that. But it was supposed to be dumb. But yeah,
So uh, before I started traveling a lot or like understanding the ins and outs of wrestling and getting booked places and whatnot, I did this gimmick where I wasn't gay, uh, but I didn't act straight, if that makes sense.
metrosexual.
Sorta. So I would well, I mean, yeah. So I would
Or Brian in real life.
so I would my wrestling gear consisted of a pair of like fake UGG boots that I painted purple and a purple pair of underwear that I drew a skull and crossbones on the crotch and some tearaway pants.
Is there video proof of this?
No, thank God.
Oh my
Uh,
god, I need to find this.
uh, there might be some pictures on a hard drive somewhere that I've forgotten about, but it was, and I talked with a lisp. I
Oh
wasn't.
my god, you went
I
full stereotype.
I totally did, and that was the thing. Like I was like, that's the character, and I really only did this character for like battle royal type matches
Oh my
where I could be
god.
in the ring with the most amount of guys and just make them feel as uncomfortable as possible.
Oh my god. So
And
again, Brian in real life. Uh
I fully committed. Like I understood the assignment and I just went out there and had a blast with it. And this was in between my very first Scottish gimmick and sideshow. So
so you went
uh,
from Scottish to metrosexual to psycho clown guy
right.
to redneck to monster. With a little Beetle Bruce mixed in there.
Well, I also recognize the and appreciate the silly side of wrestling. So, um, and I fully subscribe to if you can't laugh at yourself in wrestling, you should probably just sit down.
I laugh at myself every time I watch one of my matches. What the hell was I thinking there?
So
Oh,
everybody has that one gimmick. I wasn't embarrassed by this gimmick at all either. I've never really had a
oh, we're wrestlers. We
in the
can't get embarrassed.
that's what I'm saying. In the wrestling business, I've never had a problem with being embarrassed. I recognize that sometimes you do a character, sometimes you have you have an idea that you just have to bring to life, and once you do it, you're like, oh, okay, that was what it was. Hey, look at that bruise right there.
Holy shit, dude!
Yeah, that's from wrestling.
Really? What's
Yeah,
that
I
from?
love it.
What match?
I think it was the ropes. I think I want to say maybe Strayhorn.
Oh,
either Toomer or John Dalton hit me, and when I spun around, I caught the ropes,
oh,
and
okay.
I think that was from that. Which
Got you, got you,
it
got
doesn't
you.
hurt. I didn't even realize I had it. Which is weird. Like as soon as I turned 40, like I get like mysterious scars or mysterious bruises. The day after I wrestled Will, we had the TV taping in Memphis, and my wife noticed that on my earlobe I had a bruise on my earlobe.
Yeah,
So she took a picture of it
I
with my
love it.
phone and sent it to me. I sent it to Will, and I was like, "So I was doing a bruise inventory, and how?"
This is new.
Now this is new, a bruised earlobe. He was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry," and I'm like, "Dude, don't even worry about it. Yeah, it's fun." That just goes to show the really a super professionalist that Will is.
Okay, I'm gonna answer this one. Is because technically I never have really any regrets because I know that everything I've done has built me to who I am as a person in general. But if there was one thing that I wish I would have done is get into it earlier. I wish I would have started it earlier. Because then I feel like I could have done a lot more.
Uh, I would say I would say my number one regret. It took me a while to recognize that the only person I owe an explanation to in wrestling is myself. Um, it took me a while to get that out of my head. I have a little bit of an inferiority complex, and that goes along with the whole imposter syndrome and
Yeah.
ADHD and PTSD. But um, I let things early in my career. I let things really get to me. In a bad way. Somebody would say, "Oh man, those boots look like shit," and I would literally stress about it, to the max. Whether that meant never wearing them again or running out and purchasing a brand new pair, just so that I wouldn't be the guy that somebody looked at like, "Oh man, you suck." Um, so yeah,
Uh,
I think what's up?
I was gonna Oompa. I can't. I don't know.
Oompaville Lover $69 sign.
The only one we're streamed over multiple YouTubes, multiple Facebook pages, and also everybody's kind of spread out. So,
Yeah.
but
But yeah, that's my number one regret. Everything else I had an absolute blast with. I think I learned. Oh, hey, Colin, that's my youngest son.
oh well, then never mind. Bite my butt.
Interesting fun fact. He's about to be 15, and this year is my 15 years in the business. So I
So, in
started
other words,
wrestling.
after when you started wrestling, you went home and celebrated.
No, 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 no. Not, the wife was already pregnant with him.
Fred, this is wrestling related. I guess maybe on a road trip.
Okay, so I mean, I could swing it that way. So we were booked in where was I can't, I was booked in someplace. Um, I think my road stories are starting to blur together. I ate at a gas station that I could have swore was from the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it was in Arkansas. Uh,
I really
so
don't
yeah,
have
there.
any cool ones like that. I mean, the about the only one was when we went to Dyersburg, and it had been a big ice storm, but Dyersburg was still frozen over, and we walked from a hotel to the Huddle House, and the woman there was telling us how she just moved up there because she had to leave New Orleans because she was tired of stripping. So
Oh,
I I guess
that's
that would be weird.
interesting. That's an interesting conversation. What are you talking about? I came here for scrambled eggs.
All right, so here's one that Roland popped up that's very interesting.
Yeah, okay. I'll say, if you don't care, I'd like to start. Um, friends, what's one thing that David has taught you?
And he says short time together, as tagging, but we've been around ever since I started wrestling. You were actually at
Right,
my
right.
first show I worked. So
So I mean, yeah, we were acquaintances back then, but I mean, over this past couple of years, we've really gotten a lot closer. Which is crazy how it works. You know, like there were times where it just wasn't scheduling was off for us to get closer. But I would say um, one thing that David has taught me, if I have to pick just one, because I've learned a crap ton from him in the short time we've been together. Um, patience. I don't know if that I don't know if that translates very well, so I'll go into detail on what that means. I have a bad habit of getting really angry. Um, a- and I don't always I don't always show it in a healthy way, so to speak. So but people have described David as my calm, and I know that's kind of weird, but it is what it is. He doesn't he doesn't allow me to fester um fester on it because I'll sit in a locker room and I will scowl and I'll stare at a wall and I will just let the anger consume me until I find the person that has angered me and I go and I tell them off, or I go and I handle business in the dumbest way possible. Um, and even without David in the locker room, and I don't know if he even notices this or has noticed this, because sometimes we're not in the locker room together. Um, I find myself with a lot more calm. Um, so there's that.
uh, I can nail mine down with one word: confidence. Uh, when I first showed up to OCW, I legitimately was getting ready to quit. Uh, I was done because I had zero confidence in myself. I was not enjoying myself at all doing it anymore. And getting to work, we originally worked against each other for a while, and it helped boost my confidence and everything like that. And then when we started running together and all like that, just my overall confidence level has just immensely grown, and not to a point to where like, oh, I'm not saying this like I got an ego or anything like that, because I know exactly where I stand on stuff like that. But my confidence in my own abilities has grown tremendously since we've been doing this. So that would definitely be the number one thing for me. You know.
And I'll just add on to that. We kind of feed off each other for that, because we don't like to admit it, but both of us are immensely talented individuals, and both of our minds working together um tends to be a scary thing, because we and I say that in the best way possible, because if it's just me, I'm looking at one angle of a match or of a storyline or of a way to tackle a certain set of things in wrestling, and then you've got David, who is right there beside me, and he sees the thing from a different angle, and and vice versa. He'll bring something up that I didn't even think about, because I was so focused on uh, a dude's tone. And David's like, well, Bruce, quit being all pissy about the tone, and what he said was this, and I'm like, holy shit, dude, I never even looked at it like that. um so it's a lot of give and take, with me and David. There's not a specific um there's not a specific leader dynamic in our friendship and in our tag team. we're
Not at all.
we're equals. I consider us equals, and actually, in a lot of ways, I consider him more knowledgeable than me, because I spent a lot of my time just being pissed and being angry, and and not having a voice. So, like, now that I've got one,
And yeah.
I'll speak.
Well, and with that dynamic does come, because I'm a lot more calm in
Yeah,
situations, or
centered,
to the
centered and grounded.
we to an extent to where, like, there's a lot of times I just don't give a shit, like, oh, this person's doing this, that, and the other, and like, man, how does that affect us? It doesn't, you
and
know.
and 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 look, that being said, like, I'll be the guy that it's like Tango and Cash, or the guys from Lethal Weapon. Like, he's the calm, and I'm the crazy,
Every
and
once in a while,
oh, the
those
roles will
flips.
reverse. Very very rarely, though. So with that being said, like, it's one of those things where, like, yeah, I'll come to David, and I'll be like, "Can you believe this asshat did this?" And he's like, "But that doesn't even affect us, bro." And I find myself, like, trying to change his mind, and the more I try to change his mind, the more I'm like, man, he's got a point. That doesn't affect us at all. He's not
Well,
on our level. This guy's not on our level. He's not on our radar. He's not in our hemisphere. Um,
a lot of it has to do with we're both very passionate about this stuff.
right,
We really
right.
like not to the point to where, oh, it has to be serious, this and this. No, no, but we're very passionate about how we view things and how we feel that things could work out, and this, that, and the other. And then sometimes we do let that overshadow the overall big picture. But for the most part, yeah, it is definitely it is. Our passion for it. We definitely feel a certain way about it.
Right, right. And it's not just me being an asshole, or me being angry for the sake of being angry. It's really the passion and the love of the sport, and of the fun of wrestling, the business of wrestling, that it tends to anger me occasionally. And you know,
Occasionally.
well, like I said, at times, I have to remove myself from a situation, whether it be physically or mentally, and I have to take stock and be like, you know what? He's got a point. It's not worth the energy to put into being angry. Uh, but then again, there's some times where I'm like, fuck that. I've got every right to be angry, and this guy doesn't want me to be angry. And all I want is for him to be angry with me.
It's happened a time or two, but
Right, right,
I'm a
right.
little quicker to calm on stuff. So,
Yeah, for sure.
like,
For
man, I'm
sure.
super angry. God, I can't stand this. And then, what was I talking about? Fuck it, give me a cigarette.
Right, right.
Oh Lord.
The best times, like, and like I said, it's weird, because, like, once you've tagged with somebody for a period of time, you almost start to get that mental Bluetooth, where you just know what the other guy's thinking. And, like, David with me, like, we'll be sitting there, and somebody will be, spouting off some silliness or something, and David can pick up on the little signs of me just about to crack, and then he throws in something silly to make me laugh, or to get me off balance, so my
Oh,
anger doesn't
he
take
hates
over.
that shit when we're
Oh,
in
I
the
totally
ring
do.
too.
Yeah, I totally do.
He'll be over there. I'll be doing my thing in the ring, and he'll be leaning over, and I'll just see him like drop his face down into his arms or something. I'm like, yeah, I got him.
but I mean,
Uh,
what it does is it makes me a better person, and it makes
at
David a better
least I don't
person
pull your back
for
hair.
do what?
At least I don't pull your back hair.
Right, right. Well, to be fair, back then I wasn't a werewolf. I just was really hairy. So
I've actually teased it a few times where I put my hair right there. And he'd be like, "Don't do it." Oh, I wouldn't. Well, we still got a couple people watching, so definitely, if you're watching and you're enjoying it, share it. Let's get some more questions out there. If not, we'll probably wrap it up here in a few minutes. I wasn't expecting to go super long on this because
right, right.
originally
This
I
is
was
just
just gonna get on here, but then Bruce is like, "I'm doing it too." Okay.
yeah, that's exactly how it happened.
Angry Bruce.
Uh, but yeah, it's one
Oh
of those
man.
things where like I would like to see this Q&A session continue.
Yeah. Oh, I've got some more like the actual like my actual shoots and giggles deal. I've got several people lined up. I wanted to do like Dale first because Dale is, like I said, one of my biggest influences since I've been
Right.
wrestling. And I wanted to make sure I got Phil in there, because again, another one that I modeled a lot of my stuff after. So now I can start to break it down to where I can throw a little mix. Like I've got one guy uh, that I've never even I've been on some shows with him, but I've never been in the ring with him. Period.
Well, like if you could track down, dude, if you could track down the one and only Cody only, you could have a grand slam. The full
Oh
the full
man,
LSD.
that would be
He
awesome.
he's got some. I'm sure he's got some stories just like Idol and Dale have. Um, I. I actually went to school with Cody, and me and him were really good friends in school. So
Oh yeah.
he was one of my groomsmen in my wedding in 2001.
Wow. Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I did not know that.
Yeah, it
Kind
was
of fuzzy.
it was my first time at the show Saturday. I was in the back. It was pretty cool watching you guys or you getting into character, David. I'm glad guys like y'all are keeping the business alive. Hey man, that's that's
Very much
that's
appreciated.
our yeah, absolutely appreciated. That's our job, man. And a lot of people don't know this, but he's making his way into the business, and it it's our job to foster that love of the business, and just like it'll be your job to carry on and pass it on. um I hope to be doing this for several more years.
Okay, I
um
realized I actually did. I realize who he is now. I remember meeting him in the back now. So okay,
yeah,
I know
yeah.
who you are now. So
So
uh,
yeah, that being said, like it's wrestling, man. We gotta keep it alive. It's up to us.
well, especially like me personally, I've always been a character guy. I've never been one that's going to do a lot of flashy technical stuff or a bunch of flashy, fast moving things or high flying or any of that stuff. I definitely base my everything I do off of my character work. Because that and honestly, that's gotten me over pretty well. Yeah, I seen that. We had some of that with
Oh,
alcohol the
dude,
other
it's a
night.
strawberryta or strawbango margarita. It's pretty dang good.
Tab had got the orange crusticle thingy
Oh,
or whatever.
nice,
You mix
nice.
that with vodka. Woo.
Ooh,
But but no, yeah, definitely. Like I said, I've always like personally, it's 99.9% has always been about my character. Not like I can go in
I,
there and my entire I've had people tell me, "Oh man, that was a great match. You did this, you did so great with this, that, and the other." Like literally I didn't. I threw strikes. I threw a big boot, and I hit one actual wrestling move in the entire match. And they were like, "That was so great." I ain't do shit,
Right.
but my
Um,
personality, is what I always feel like gets out there.
what? Huh. There's a Dennis Quaid movie being filmed in Fayetteville. That's super cool. Um,
Sure.
so the it was just the randomness of the wife. Um, but yeah, so like when I like the every wrestler has their generation, and that they fell in love with wrestling. I was born in 1983, so like the late 80s, I was old enough to recognize wrestling, and I loved the character work. In my opinion, the 80s was really character driven. The
Yeah.
good guys were super good and over the top good. The bad guys were super bad and over the top bad. There was bright colors and there were just vibrant personalities. So when I started wrestling, that's kind of the direction that I took. Um, I love being a technical wrestler, but I love being a character driven technical wrestler, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
But saying I really didn't start watching a whole lot of wrestling until like the '90s,
Mm,
and of course, because we lived out in the boonies, out in the middle of nowhere, so we were doing good to get local stations. And every once in a
right,
while, you'd get like the Saturday night main event or something like that. Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper,
right,
stuff like that. So like a lot of guys in our area talk about growing up watching Memphis, on Channel 5 or whatever. Uh,
right,
I that wasn't available where I was at, so I
right.
really didn't get to grow up. Um, Watching that stuff. But then in the '90s, my dad finally got satellite, so I got to start watching WWE, and then
Hell
like
yeah.
immediately, as you can tell by my character and stuff like that, the darker gimmicks, Undertaker, Papa Shango, stuff like that. I really gravitated towards them, and then as it came along,
Right,
guys like Boogeyman, Kane, more recently Bray Wyatt. I'm really big on in NXT Joe Gacy.
yeah.
Those psycho dark characters. I've always been really drawn to
Well,
those.
yeah, and
You know,
that's what I was getting at because like in my frame of reference for wrestling, it was like mid 80s to mid 90s, and the early 90s or the later 90s, it was Memphis wrestling, because we moved around a lot as a kid, and when we were in Arkansas and we could get Memphis wrestling, that's what I did on Saturday mornings. I'd watch Memphis wrestling and then I'd throw on cartoons. It's actually in my opinion, it's actually very easy. I love the character that I do. Being the werewolf, I know I know what I'm doing. I'm a lot more focused than just regular old Bruce. Um, I I know a lot of people that have saw me in the locker room are like, "Oh my gosh, he's really super intense," right before he goes out, and that's really just me being in the zone and being fully committed to the character.
yeah, it's a literally. Uh, let's go ahead. Let's leave that up there.
Yeah, yeah, my bad.
Literally. Like before the match and everything like that, yeah, I'm dressed out. I'm all in my stuff and everything like that. But like 3 or 4 minutes before the actual match is about to happen, that's when people start noticing. I start pacing the locker room back and forth. I start doing these weird little hand gyrations. And that's where I start getting into my mode. And then like I get to the curtain, I'm just like. And right before the music hit, depending on where we're at, all you hear is that loud. Yeah, and that's definitely it's not difficult at all for me to maneuver into that character. It's just it's ingrained in me now, because
Right,
it's very like my character has evolved since I started, but it's still other than my little spurt, when I did the whole cult leader thing, it's always it's still been pretty much the same character, just different variations of it throughout the years.
right. So I'd say, yeah, and a lot of guys, you'll find a lot of guys that are like that. Characters that you have fleshed out that are have a life of their own. They're living, breathing characters. They're so much easier. It would be really difficult for me to be, like Bruce the robot. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not a robot. I don't. I know a lot about robots because I'm a comic book geek, but it
Yeah.
maybe like Bruce the lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Like if I was a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know nothing about being a lawyer. All I know about being a lawyer is they wear suits and they have briefcases, and a lot of times they make a lot of money. So
Okay. I'm gonna elaborate on Fred's question, but this is
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
move to a different area, because you're the war wolf everywhere but one place.
right.
How did when you are brother Bruce? How do you get into that mode?
Um, it's man, it's weird. So there was a movie that came out. There was a movie that came out several years ago called Silver Bullet. And in the movie Silver Bullet, the bad guy of the movie was a priest who was also cursed with being a werewolf. Uh, I know
I
it's
never thought I never put that together. I know because I know the
so
movie, but
yeah, yeah. So
wow,
so
okay.
being Brother Bruce, it it's it's the priest in the daytime. It's the priest every it's the priest before the full moon. He knows there's a beast inside of him.
Well, here you go. I'm brother Bruce.
There's a beast inside of him, and that he keeps locked away, and
The dastardly mustache.
it's dastardly. So there's a beast inside of him that's locked away, but he's still the beast. So that being said, if you watch that movie, the progression of how he acts, um, especially uh, once the kid finds out that he's the werewolf, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the
Uh,
aggression starts to amp
yeah,
up a
the
little.
aggression starts to amp up. The more kind of brutality of the beast coming out of him. Um, and that's how I get into that character. Once I get dressed and once I'm in the character, and I'm look like the character, then becomes the process of getting into that headspace, because face heal wherever you're at, you'll do any number of things that you're required to do. If you're entertaining, it doesn't matter what
And
what
that's what I've always enjoyed about with the way I portray my character. If I'm face or heel, is I don't really have to change a whole lot outside of
right,
my intention. You
right,
know
right.
the
and that's
intention
the
behind it.
and that's the I guess with some people, and it was that way with me early in my career. um you have that you have that feeling of, well, I've got to be a face, or I'm booked as a face. How do I act like a good guy? What does my character do that's a good guy? And if I get booked down the road, if some fans here see me down there, and but down there wants me to be a bad guy, I'm gonna lose the fans that I have. That's not true.
No,
Uh,
not at all.
if you're entertaining, it's not gonna matter. It's the fact that you're in the ring and you're playing a character that a side of you that people may have not ever seen before.
Dude,
Uh,
when I was doing the cult leader thing, I legitimately
right.
had people messaging me wondering if I was trying to start my own religion and how they could join. So
Well, and that's the good stuff, like not for lack of a better word, that's how you know that you've got your hooks in, so to speak. If you're good, and you don't have to be a great wrestler to be good. If you're good, you don't have to be a face or a heel, or it doesn't matter if you're a face or a heel. I've gotten people. I've had people come watch me or watch the show that are like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this side of you. I've never seen this type of portrayal that you put on. It's almost seamless. How do you do it? Well, I mean, it's just one of those things where like you get handed a role and you just have to do it. You have to figure out a way to
yeah.
make it work.
Oh. Well, man, I
So
think
that's a
this
lot
is.
of
Oh, go ahead.
a
Go
lot
ahead.
of no, a lot of guys will ask me, like, when I reach out, or when somebody reaches out to book us, they're like, well, what do you prefer? And the first thing I ask them is, what do you need? Do you need good guys? Do you need bad guys? Which do
We
you
can do
prefer?
both.
Yeah, we can do both, and then I get that inevitable. Well, what do you prefer doing? And I prefer to wrestle. I don't care if you need me to go out there and be a bad guy. I can do that. If you need me to go out there and be a good guy, I don't look like a good guy, but I guarantee the point will get across that I'm a good guy.
And people like gimmicks. They like the characters.
Right,
That's why
right,
like with the original get Cataclysm. I always had the mask on with the dreads and stuff like that, and I'd go to a show and they're like, "Oh, you look like a heel. That's what I need to do." And I'd go out there. I had a match. It was a part of an angle, and we had built up to a fans bring weapons match. And but these people love me, and I'm just being dirty. And I go to walk out, and there's this little old lady standing there with like 5 kids around her, and they're all her kids. And she goes to hand me a clothes hanger, one of those old wire clothes hangers. And I look
yeah,
at it,
yeah.
and I legitimately said, "Looks like you should have used that about 5 times."
Oh,
She
damn
looks,
it!
and she looks around, and she goes, "You're right. Here, what the hell do I have to do?" And that's initially why the mask came off. Is like, because there's no way I can't. It's hard to evolve this character if all these people, because I was primarily in, just primarily in Arkansas. If all these
Right,
people like this character so much, how am I supposed to evolve it if no matter what I do, I can't get them to change their mind. That's like we used to say years ago. Vic Vicious, 100% heal, 100%. We used to say he could rescue a busload of kids on fire, and people would be like, "Look at that piece of shit over there." They still hate him. So, you
right.
know, nope. Roland's back.
Oh man.
uh,
Let's pull that up there.
I got it up there.
Yep.
Uh,
Most botched move that still bothers you to this day.
I legitimately have one, um, and I'll explain why it bothers me. Max Stone sat me on the top rope, did a big insiguri, and I went to tumble to the outside. And the reason that bothers me is because my foot got hung on the middle rope, and my full weight pulled my knee almost out of socket, and I still have problems with this knee to this day. So technically, it still bothers me.
uh, well, I've got one similar to that, but it revolves around an injury. So probably about 15 years in this year, probably about 4 years into my wrestling career. I used to do this thing where I would stand a ladder up in the corner and I would get on the top rope and I would come down and do a leg drop, but I would land on my butt and I would kind of ride the ladder down. So this the ladder was usually the same height and I had practiced this move, so it wasn't anything that like, dangerous or something that I could get hurt doing. Well, we I had a ladder match about 4 or 5 years ago, and for some reason the original ladder that we used got broke or got replaced, and the ladder was probably another 2 to 3 feet higher than what I was used to.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I was on the top rope and I'm getting ready to ride this ladder down to, to glory. Um, uh, and when I rode the ladder down, for some reason, I tried to overcompensate to sit on the top of the ladder. And as I was coming down, I just remember like straightening my legs and landing almost straight legged. And I think that might have been when my knee injury started, because I had already had bad knees from the Marine Corps, and then that just kind of exacerbated the injury. And fast forward a few years, I tore my MCL, um, practicing, and then several years after that, my ACL tore the rest of the way, and I had ACL replacement surgery. And luckily it's held up, and I only really feel it. I only really feel the nagging sensation of the botched move, if it's cold or if I have a particularly physical match. Um, but I mean, yeah, that's really the a guy that I trained with and took me under his wing early on in my wrestling career. He told me, he said 90% of the injuries that you get in this ring are going to be self-inflicted. And that has
Yep.
that is rang true 100% of the time. Any injury that I've ever gotten, in fact, like right now, it's healing up. I can feel it's healed, but I have a torn, I have a rotator cuff tear, from something that happened last September. Um, but I went to the doctor. I got my steroid injection, and I've been doing the physical therapy. So it's actually healing. So uh,
Steroids.
but it was my I wish. But no, it was my it was my own dumb fault, and I have this weird thing where like in the match you have the inner monologue that you're talking to yourself and you're reminding yourself what's happening in the match and this and that and the other. If I bump wrong or if I feel like I've done something that I shouldn't do, the first thing I hear in my head is, "Wow, Greenhorn, what was that?"
Yeah.
And then it's like, "Oh well, you hurt yourself again. Go you."
That's what I main thing I deal with is like, 'cause I've always prided myself on my footwork. I feel like I've got very good footwork, but nowadays, 'cause I have to have a heavier brace on this knee now, and like so if I go to like turn quick or something like that, I'll feel like a twinge in there, that
Yeah.
it's not like it actually like hurts, but it like gives that shock, like, oh shit,
Oh yeah,
you
but
almost
it's a
lose your balance because you don't want to hurt it.
right, right. But it's enough to kind of take you out of your comfort zone for a minute. Like, oh shit, did I hurt myself? And then you like move it. And you're like, okay, not hurt. Just felt like I could have.
Right, right, right. Does anybody else if anybody else watching has got any questions before we wrap this up, and I'll go ahead and shoot them in the comments real quick. because we're probably gonna be wrapping this up here pretty soon. Because I'm hungry. I have not ate yet, and I'm old,
Right.
sleepy, and
And I hope
grumpy.
this was I hope this was informative. Like our main goal of doing this special edition Q&A segment is really for our fans to get to know us better. Being is getting late. One more.
Being that it's getting late, he's
Yeah,
got
yeah.
one
Being that
more.
it's getting yeah. Um,
He
but yeah,
wants us fully rested for tomorrow, so he can do this
right,
question of the day.
right, right.
All right, this is
But yeah,
a
hope.
very good one.
Oh God. So again, I lean on the words of Dirty Little Dave. In this, everybody's that does this, their body will tell them when it's time to hang it up. And
Yeah, because
uh
mentally you'll never be able to.
right, right. Mentally, you'll never be able to take yourself out of the sport of professional wrestling.
You can step
You will have
away for
to.
a little bit, but you're going. It's gonna. It's an addiction, man.
Right, right. And I tell people this all the time, the adrenaline and the lights and the noise and the fans and the music, it's all a drug and it's very addictive.
Very.
But Dave used to tell me, and Dave's just recently retired fully. But he always told me, like, your body will tell you when it's time. You bend down to go to lay your boots, and all of a sudden you can't sit back up again, or you take a bump just right and you don't get back up. Your body will tell you, hey man, it's time to quit. The only thing that I worry about, and the only thing that I've ever really worried about, is that mental addiction for the sport of wrestling, for the sport of being an entertainer. I just hope that it doesn't. I hope I have that body mind communication where I can say, my body says, hey man, it's time to stop. Uh, and
Yeah.
I hope my mind says, you know what, you got a point, because we don't want to die in this ring. Now I will say this. Uh, well, I said I was going to say this, but I completely forgot. Like, I just lost my entire train of thought.
No, and I completely agree with you. Personally, like unless something drastic happens, it's going to be a physical thing that's going to make it to where I can't do it. Now,
Right.
I don't want to be one of these guys that I'm in 60s or 70s and I'm still trying to do it, but I can't like even
Right.
hardly
Okay.
move. I can't be one of those guys. But
So that's
mentally,
where
it's hard to say no. You know,
so that's where I was going. That's where my mind was going next. So I have a ritual of watching back matches that I was in. And once I can't do the simplest of move, uh, it may be it may be mentally time to just hang it up. Because if I can't do a forward roll without it just completely shitting the bed and looking like ass, um, it's all of our jobs as professional wrestlers to keep wrestling alive and keep it, at the forefront. But the second that I can't perform even the most simplest of tasks in the ring, um, I think that it will be more of a man in the mirror type situation where, look, I know you want to do this, but dude, your body's not allowing you to do this. And the longer you stay in the business, the more you're going to make the business look bad. So the best thing you can do is just step away, take a different role. You know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of guys who had really great careers and then couldn't physically do it anymore. So then they became like managers, or they became announcers, or they became,
yeah.
really important roles in the business. And after you've had an illustrious career, um, you can still get that. You can
You
still
still
get that.
contribute.
You can still contribute to the business.
Yeah,
A
from
lot of
correct.
guys, a lot of guys don't like to hear this, but the wrestling business owes us nothing, and we owe the wrestling business everything. So that being said, you can still contribute, and you can still help the wrestling business out, and not have a front and center in ring role.
And Roland asking that question is a perfect segue into we know it's time to hang it up for tonight.
For tonight at least.
Well,
I like what you did there.
yeah, those of you that did, tune in, we appreciate you. We
Absolutely.
really do.
I know this
Uh,
was a last minute thing, but I really do appreciate it. The next one of these that happens, uh, it'll there'll be a lot more notice about it.
yeah, well, I
Instead of
just
it being just a
posted. I
yeah,
just posted like, "Hey, anybody, if I did a Q and A, anybody want to tune in?" And then Bruce messages me, "Yeah, we're doing this. Yeah, let's do it." And I'm like,
right,
"Oh, okay,
right.
yeah, okay." That gives me a little bit more motivation to actually do it. So,
Right. And
but
I love all the questions. I feel like the people that tuned in, kind of got a peek inside of our brains,
and
and
it made us also think. It made us evaluate.
right.
You
Right.
know,
And I mean self evaluation is another uh beautiful skill to have in wrestling.
and Fred, if you're still watching, take the chili out of the refrigerator. I'm hungry. Uh,
All right. Um
But we do appreciate y'all. Make sure share the shit out of this stuff. That just helps us, and the more views we get in onto it, the more we can put into it, and the more fun we can have with it. So,
right,
um,
right.
make sure you tune in. Okay. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for Special Dummies Unit. The two of us, Mr. Roland, who is very active in the comments,
Hey,
and the
if you're
man the man, the man, Fred James will be
hey,
on
eh,
on.
and if you're looking to sponsor a little podcast, send us a message.
Right, right. We'll put you over. So,
Oh yeah, we will.
ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. Eventually.